Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Make It a Great Week, where we start off each Monday morning with a strong cup of coffee and a positive conversation. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Opa. Let's make it a great week.
So, you were a car salesman at one point. How was that? How was the car salesman life? You've talked about it before, not on this podcast, but you enjoyed it for a while, right?
It was good. Well, not initially. It was not good.
Okay.
I think I started in July. It was in July, I think. Anyway, I spent a few months there trying to get a hold of the tactics. Why did I even go there? I can't remember. What was the motivation to go to car sales? Because car sales people have a reputation. And
A very good, upstanding reputation. If people care about everyone, selfless, honest.
Right. Looking out for the customer's best interest always. No, more of the line of what was the Danny DeVito played the in what was that movie, Matilda, where Danny DeVito was.
I watched that for the first time recently.
Did you really?
Such a sad movie.
It is a little. It's sad, yeah. But anyway, yeah. It was in July. I tried to listen to the salespeople. The sales managers and everything, the management, and it was just getting to the point where I just couldn't take it, and so then I quit. I mean, because the reputation that the car salespeople get, they were earning it over there, but after a few weeks of thinking, after I quit, I said, they're not asking me to lie, which is, red line for me. I'm not gonna cross that line in the sand. I said, they're not asking me to lie. They're just asking me, these things of, number one, getting people to come in. If they call, get them in. That's you can't sell a car over the phone. You got to sell them the feel of the wheel seals the deal.
Is that what they said?
Yeah. So if they're interested in coming in, that means that they're either going to buy or die. You're gonna make them buy. And so I said, they're not asking me to say anything inaccurate. People would call in it off the ad, and this was KIA of Greer. All right, KIA of Greer ended up, these guys, it was with a automotive group that came out of Louisiana, and they built many dealerships up here. But they were very aggressive. Yeah. I mean aggressive in their advertising. On Channel 4 and Fox News, during the news segments, that like the half-hour news, every break there was at least a 15-second commercial saying, we've got Kia Reels, brand new Kia Reels, $1,695, and we're open at midnight every night. Kia of Greer, just something like that. And I'm kid you not, was every commercial break there was at least one little ad like that. And then every day, do you know what a newspaper is?
I've heard of them.
Well, there was a newspaper back then, and it came in two sections, Section A and Section B. On the back of both sections, full page ad every day was Kia Greer advertising. And this is when Kia was just starting to grab a foothold into the American market. So people were wondering, and what is this all about? But it had a 10,000 year, let me try that again.
For 10,000 years, you shall drive the Kias.
that's like purgatory or something. It was a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty on the car, and so that that just blew everybody else's warranty away. So it
Was
was
it bumper to bumper warranty?
no, it's a 5-year, 60,000-mile bumper to bumper. The
Okay.
10-year, 100,000 mile was on all the internal lubricated moving parts. So
Okay.
all the expensive things were covered for 100,000 miles.
Okay.
And my pitch to people was, you may have a car payment for the next, several years, but you're not going to have a surprise, extremely high repair bill because that's going to be covered if
Hmm.
something happens. And for the next 5 years, 60,000 miles, it's covered bumper to bumper.
Mm.
So if anything goes wrong, you're covered for 5 years, 60,000 miles. And but and they weren't asking me to do any type of lying or anything like this. The thing was, if somebody called up and said, "Well, I want to find out about this 6999 Rio that you guys have." Rio was a small four-door sedan. You don't even have them, do you? Yes, sir, we do. Well, I don't believe it. Well, bring the ad and come on in. We're going to do, this is what they told us to say, exactly what the ad says.
That should be a big red flag for anyone on the phone when you
Well,
say we will do exactly what the ad says.
well, I mean, the ad is right there, and they could not, they had to do what the ad says because it'd be false advertising. People could sue them. And so the thing that sticks out in my mind, it's a brand new Kia, a brand new
Say it
roomy.
carefully.
Yeah, yeah. It was carefully crafted and worded. Brand new Kia Rio, um, and it was some brand new four-door Kia Rio sedan, and roomy. We call it roomy Kia sedan. It was like the size of a Corolla, but it was a little bigger. It was a little bit bigger, and so
And it just had four doors. That was it.
well, it had four doors, but it was 69.99. And then there was fine print on it. So people would come in. I'm coming from Georgia, and they pulled people because, like I said, there were not many Kia dealerships in the area. They were pulling people 60 miles away. Somebody would call from Georgia. I'm coming up from Georgia, and I better see that car. It's right here, sir. Bring the ad in. We're going to do exactly what the ad says. Well, so I went back to work for him. Then I said, I'm not lying. They're not asking me to lie. I would never lie, and it was okay money, and it was something I enjoyed doing. I do like getting people involved in something new,
Hmm.
and so after I quit and thought about it and processed the whole thing, I said, there's nothing wrong with it. And then I had a good buddy, John, who I got to work there. He called me up in April. I quit in December, and he called me up in April and said, "Man, Tim, things are blowing and going over here. This advertising is starting to kick in." He said, "I made $10,000 the month of April," and I said, "Really?" And he said, "Man, this is fantastic. You got to come back." And so I said, "You know what? You're right. I mean, I'm going to go back." And John was still there, and it was fun. And but we were there from 9 in the morning to 9 at night. That was every day, 9 at night.
7 days a week?
No, no, they had Sundays off.
Okay.
They would give you Sundays
Still
off.
6 days a week?
Yeah, yeah. It was that, and it was a lot of long, hard hours. But every ad said, if you heard what I said on the news segments, it said open to midnight every night, and people said, "What?" We were open to midnight every night. If there were somebody to come on the lot, you would stay there till the thing was finished. And car sales. Oh, you can do that in like 20 minutes, right? It's like a 4 or 5 hour ordeal.
It always takes longer than you think.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. But if somebody came on the lot at like 8 o'clock in the evening, oh my word, and they showed an interest, they would be there till the bitter end. The latest I've ever clocked out of the place was like 12. It was literally 12:37 and then being back to work the next morning at 9 o'clock. But it was crazy. However, the management, it wasn't like they were saying, "Hey, you're going to do it. We're not going to do it. They were there from bell to bell. They opened the door. They locked the door. They were those guys, and they've got paid good money. But they were the ones that were. I mean, I've never seen guys work harder than that.
Well, you were working, if it's 6 12-hour days, that's a 72-hour work week.
Yeah, but you're not working. A lot
Well,
of
you're
times you're
not
sitting
home.
around. You're not home. That's the thing. You're not home, and you're sitting around until the up comes on the lot. And if you got 15 salespeople, they're all looking for that up, but you were there and you're sitting at your desk and you're twiddling your thumbs or doing something. You're just sitting there waiting until a customer comes on the lot, and that, like I said, they call them an up, and whoever gets the up gets the up. Um, my thing was I was always looking at the brochures, saying I got to learn how to learn these cars inside and out. And
Mm.
that's one thing I really enjoyed doing was learning the inside and out. I mean the specs, because the brochures they have it right there, and you read them, you basically memorize the brochure because you have plenty of time to do it.
Yeah.
But then these people would come in. Um, I'm looking for that 69.99 Rio that I can get. Really? Okay, follow me. Because they had to have the car.
Yeah.
They said, you better see, I want, you don't even have, we do, sir. Follow me. You got the ad? I saw it on television. Bring the TV. It was just bring the ad with you. We're going to do exactly what the ad says.
Yeah.
And so, you got the ad with you? Yes, sir. Okay, follow me. And so we go behind a building, and underneath this tree, it's just Kia Rio. They never washed it. It was full of bird stuff and tree sap, bird stuff that rhymes with sap. And it was just as dirty as could be. It was dusty, as horrible. I said, that's the car? This is the car. You see, what's your head said? It's a brand new, roomy four-door sedan. You see this sticker on the window? It's never been titled before. It is a brand new, roomy. It's more roomy than most cars in this class. Four-door sedan. Here it is. And they look in and say, okay, great. Oh, it's a stick shift? Yes, sir. Okay, great. I can't drive a stick shift. Okay. Well, you can learn, can't you? Oh yeah. For $69.99 you can learn, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, great. By the way, do you want air conditioning? Well, yeah, you're in the South here. You got to have air conditioning. Okay. Do you need a radio? We don't have a radio? No. And it doesn't have power steering.
Not power steering?
It's a brand new, roomy four-door sedan, just like the ad says. And by the way, do you see this stuff down here? That's $69.99. Part of that $69.99 price is a $3,000 KOG. You know what KOG means? No. It means Kia of Greer owner loyalty. Do you own a Kia? No. And you don't have to buy it here. Do you have a Kia registered in your name? No, nobody did, because Kias were just coming on the market. Well, then you're not qualified for that $3,000 Kia of Greer. So, it's, you mean to tell me I don't get that? So it's $99.99. Yes, sir. It's $99.99.
So how many people at that point were storming off the lot?
Well,
by the time
that's
you
where
got
you
to
had to
that?
diffuse. That's where the salesmanship came in.
Yeah.
See, the car that you don't want for $69.99, you can't even get it for $69.99. It's going to be $99. So, but you came in here because you need a car, right? Yes. Well, let's find something that's gonna meet your needs, and we'll make it work within your budget. And if not, then we're just gonna part friends. How about let's go find a car? And so it was a lost leader. I had one lady, and this is my ignorance. She came in, ignorance in sales and inexperience in sales. She came in and she says, "Great. You don't need power steering in a car that small. I never listen to the radio. I only going to drive it in the day, in the morning, because I don't need air conditioning. I'll take two of them." And I was ecstatic. I went, "Oh, wait a minute, you're really?" And she says, "Yeah. So the first one I get for $99.99, and the second one I get for $69.99." So yeah,
She's got it all mapped out.
yeah. So it's okay, fantastic. I'll write you a check right now for 17 grand for both of them. And I said, "Oh man, that's fantastic." So I went to the desk with the paperwork, and they were livid. They blew their top. They said, "What are you doing? We don't even have that many of these cars. You can't sell that car." That car, we got to have that car in order to do it. But she was adamant, and she wanted both of them. So they said, we got to go find another one. And so they found another one, and she bought 2 cars that day for $17,000, brand spanking new cars with all the warranty and everything in it. And she was ecstatic. They were livid though. They say, don't ever do that again. We don't want to sell these cars. And this is when I started thinking, what in the world? I mean, I always thought you advertised something that you wanted to sell, No. And that's my ignorance again prevailing here is saying, oh, I get it. So it's just
Well,
get
it
them
would
in the
be
door.
common sense that you advertise and want to sell. It would be unusual that you advertise something and don't want to sell it.
And it's called a loss leader in the area of marketing, And so that's what happens out there. And it's like all that stuff that I just talked about, that is in the fine print. It's all in the bottom there. And listen, Mr. Jones, what were you expecting? A car that was automatic, fully loaded, leather, moonroof. I mean, for $69.99. Come on, you're 50 years old. You don't know that the bold print giveth and the fine print taketh away. That's what happens in real life. That's what happens. So
Yeah.
yes, just read the fine print, and that's why you bring the ad so that I can prove to you that we're doing exactly what the ad says. But and that dealership did a bunch of advertising. I mean, a bunch. They became the #1 car sales Kia dealership in the nation a few months of the year. Back then.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking about Pasadena, California, New York. I mean, Chicago, Greer, South Carolina was the #1 Kia selling dealership in the nation. We sell hundreds of cars a month.
I would have loved to have seen their profit margin because it sounds like they were spending a lot of money on advertising.
Oh.
And I'm sure that part of the reason they were telling you guys to be so aggressive, I don't know if every dealership would have been like that because every dealership may not have been spending that much money on ads.
Yeah.
And think about if you're running the store and you're spending that much money on ads, if your ads don't pay off, who is responsible for the store's performance? It's not the salesman, it's the people who are saying we need to spend tons of money every single day on advertisement.
I think what it must have been was somehow through Kia that if they hit these margins, they hit these thresholds. Like if they sold 150 cars a month, they get an extra $1,000 a month back from Kia. If they hit 250 cars a month, then they get this extra kickback from Kia. And I think that is where they got a lot of their incentives from, because we didn't sell used cars. We only sold brand new cars. That's the only thing we did. All of our used cars, we had a guy that bought them on the spot. In fact, it was kind of interesting because my general manager, if somebody came out with a car and it was going to be traded, and he was on the phone with Jerry Morgan was the guy's name. He's on the phone. Jerry, I got this, 1995 Buick LeSabre that hasn't been smoked in. He stick his head in it hasn't been smoked in. It's got good tires on it. Air conditioning's cold, and looks good. And over the phone, Jerry would give him a price what we would take, and then they'd reconcile once a month with all the trade-ins that we had. And sometimes Jerry would look at him and say, no, you didn't tell me that it didn't have this, that, and he'd keep track of them. And it was a fascinating thing that they did, but they did a good job. It's not even owned by the same company now. They sold it to, I think, Fred Anderson or something like this, dealerships. But they built that thing, and it was quite impressive. It was fascinating to be a part of, and it's a privilege to be part of it because we kind of worked around it and was able to go to the Bahamas. They sent me to the Bahamas, being one of the top salesmen in the country. But it's not good to go to the Bahamas when you're by yourself. It was by myself with the other Kia salespeople. I said, this is great. I'm here by
Different
myself.
Lifestyle, right? Than someone who has a family with kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's I said, it's an experience. I'm gonna go down there. I lost my fake Rolex in the Atlantic Ocean.
Did you really?
Yeah, some guy came. He knows that salespeople are such suckers, and this guy comes by. He says, "Look at this! I got these faux Rolex." And they look for $35. You could have this nice looking. And people who don't know better, they'd look at it. And say, oh man, he's wearing a Rolex. Well, and of course it's just a cheap knockoff. But I put it on my on my head on my hat just
Yeah.
so I wouldn't lose
Yeah.
it. And when the ocean, a big wave hit, boof, lost my hat, lost my fake Rolex. So if anybody finds it down there,
Now they'll know.
yeah. If it's still working, I don't know. It would be still working. But it was funny. It was fun. It was a good stretch. And uh,
So what kind of training did they have on the job when you got there? Did they like have you walk with someone who was actively selling somebody a car and you just kind of stood there and nodded and took notes, or did you sign up and they said, "All right, here you go, have fun, try to
um,
sell cars."
they would do a sales meeting usually every day.
Okay.
And in the sales meeting, they would kind of explain some of the things that you need to be doing. Get them in the car, get them to drive the car. You got to get them settled in the car because if they don't like the car, then you're dead in the water. You got to get them to like the car. Part of that is get them to drive the car, get them in the car. That was a major thing. So, if you said, boss, I got this guy wants to leave. He doesn't. Did you get him in the car? No. Get him in the car. Because if he's not leaving until you get him in the car. Would you just please run around the block with me, please, in the car? Because they're not gonna let you go until you can do that.
If you don't drive it.
It was always funny, and like I said, they stayed open way late, and they just not all. They would start sending the salespeople home after 9 o'clock. They would peel you off. You could go home, but there's some because there would be people coming after supper, after restaurant. They just get on the lot, and if you caught you boy, you try to after 12 hours, you kind of hang in the shadows. You don't want to pick up that up because you know that if they come on the lot like at 8 o'clock, if they're serious about it, they're wanting to push them through the whole process, and they would that's going to be 12. I mean, you're going to be out at midnight. Some people would call from like Anderson, an hour away, and it's like 8 o'clock at night.
Uh-huh.
You're going to be there. I tell you what, you just ask for Bob when you get here. And so somebody can be pulling up and you know that they're from Anderson. And yeah, well, I'm supposed to see Bob. He's right over there. Yeah, I'm going. I'm leaving.
Would you guys really do that?
I'm going.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, but you come on in, but don't talk to me. And it just depends on if you're close to a bonus or something. If you're like one car away from the bonus and there's like 2 hours left to go in the month, and that extra bonus could be like another $1,000 on your paycheck. Like you're at 19 cars and you want to go to 20.
Hmm.
Then at 20 they give you an extra $1,000. Man, you want them in. You want to
Yeah.
come in. I will stick around. Because I want and that's good in the sense that it makes people really aggressive in their sales. But again, I never wanted to sell anybody anything that they didn't need or didn't want. I mean, if you don't want the car, and I remember one guy buying a Kia Rio, looking at a little Kia Rio, he's like 350 pounds.
Hmm.
I said, he said, oh yeah, this will work. And he's right there on the steering wheel, and I said, Joe, listen, when you're not going to like this car. I said, this is what's going to happen. I can predict to you what's going to happen. You're going to get in this car and you're going to drive it off the lot, and you're going to say, man, I got a brand new car, it smells great and everything else. Couple days down the road, you're going to get so sick and tired of trying to squeeze your huge frame into this little car
Yeah.
that you put up with it for another 6 months and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. So you're going to turn the car in. You're going to be way upside down in the car, and then your next payment is going to be for your new car is going to be so much more than
Yeah.
that. So why don't we go out and find something that's going to meet your needs right now that you can fit in, that you can enjoy, and then make it so that you can have this car for years to come.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and even if you have to put more money, make a bigger payment right now. You're not going to pay $200 for the Kia Rio. You're going to spend like 275 for the Kia Optima, but you're going to enjoy it much more. You're not going to have to trade it in. And you just had to figure out what was good for the customer and go from there. That's what should be the essence of sales, where you find out what a customer needs. If a customer doesn't need it, don't sell it to them. I mean, because I don't want to, but I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. If somebody says, I just want a new car, you got 3 of them in your driveway. Okay, you don't need a new car. Why would I want to say no? If you want to spend your money and you want a 4th car, I'm happy to hear.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help, as
Yeah.
they say at Walmart. Happy to help. So yeah, that's
So when you were salesman of one of the top salesmen in the country,
Mhm.
how did that happen? Was that just
Well,
you were just on a hot streak?
no, part of it was sales. The other part was product knowledge, and you had to pass these tests and everything. Well, we had some sacrificial lambs, guys that were, that didn't, and it was all based on, you had to take this test online from Kia, and it was product knowledge, and it had to be customer satisfaction too. So if there were guys that their customer satisfaction was not, and because whenever you sell a car, please give me all 5s on the survey. Please, is there any reason you can't give me all 5s? No, when they're going to call you. And when they call you, would you please give me all 5s? Yes, I can. I can give you 5 stars. Fantastic. Well, if your customer service uh, rating was up there, so it was based on sales, customer service, and product knowledge. Well, sales, you had to be up there in the sales, and that was you just had to be there. But that was only one segment of what qualified you. So we knew that some of us were in that range there in the category of cars sold, and then some people they didn't have the customer service rating. So we knew that you got to have perfect customer service rating. If you didn't, forget it. You're not going to make it. And then the product knowledge. If you missed one question on the test, forget it. You're not going to because there's going to be some people. And so the people that we knew that they couldn't do it because of their numbers were down. They still took the test, and so when somebody like me came in, boom, I just aced it. It was I had the product now. I mean, I had the car sales. The customer service was up there 5 stars. The only thing that was missing was the product knowledge. And in order to alleviate the idea of the product knowledge not being what it should be, I mean, missing one question, we made sure that you're not going to miss one question. For product knowledge, you got it. You can ace it.
Yeah.
And so that's what, ding, 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 all 3 of those at the top of the tier. So it was good. It was fun. And I can't remember if there was a couple other people that went with me, but I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. We flew out of GSP to Chicago, then down to Miami, and then to the Great Exuma, which was an island in the Bahamas. And the Bahamas we went to the Westin, I think, 4 Seasons resort there. Beautiful place. I mean, just the only thing on the island that was beautiful was the Westin. I mean, all the lawn. I mean, everything had to be brought in, but they had a little apartment building that was a few miles up the road, and everybody that worked at the Westin lived in the apartments. But it was just beautiful resort. But everything was brought in. I don't know if they had the golf course. I'm not a golfer, but I think they may have had a golf course. But all the sod and everything had to be brought in. It was very beautiful. But that was the only beautiful thing on the island. Everything else. You ever been to the Bahamas?
No.
It's kind of dirty. I mean, you got these islands that are they're full of shells, and it's not like beautiful sandy beaches. It's shelly, and that's anyway my impression of it. But not the Westin. The Westin was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back if it were in the cards, if it were possible.
Never know.
You never know. Won't be you
So
selling Kias though.
you went from top salesman in the country, generally speaking, and then at some point you left.
To quitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
walk me through that.
I sold 3 cars on a Saturday, which was it's exhausting to sell 3 cars on a
Mm.
Saturday. And knew that had it was a good day. That the three so it was Emily's birthday.
Mm.
So here it is after 9:30 ish, and I was parking my last trade, and I said I got to go. My daughter's birthday. Um, I gotta go. We're gonna go celebrate my daughter's birthday. And so they said, don't go without letting us. Don't go without permission, because And I said, I've been here from 9 o'clock. It's 9 now. 3 cars. I said it's 9:30 ish right now. It's something. It was getting something to 10 then. I says, you know what? If you guys don't want me to go, I'm sorry. I'm leaving. And I just got my car and left. Well, and then it was kind of funny because I went from there to, I think it was Texas Long Roadhouse,
Hmm.
get a steak. I was waiting for my steak, and I saw this Career Builder newspaper, and it says, these commissions for people that were selling gutters and windows and everything. And I said, I wonder what that's all about. So I took that paper with me because it was comparable to what I was making at the car. So I looked at their commissions were comparable, and I said, you know what? I want to check into that, and then got my steak and food and went home to the party. Well, that was on that was Saturday. Sunday was off. Monday, come in and say, Kane, get in the office. Okay, you want me in the office, and they say we're going to write you up for insubordination. You left without permission. I said, okay, all right, do what you got to do. Fine. And I said, you know what? That newspaper, where is that newspaper? That looks really good. And so that was Emily's birthday. And I think the next month, September, I said, see you later, guys. I mean, if that's how much appreciation you show for somebody who,
Especially a 3 car day.
a 3 car
See,
day,
that to me
top
is
salesman, and that's the kind of appreciation you said. So I said, you know what, you guys, forget it. I'm not going to deal with this anymore.
that's where the discretion comes in. You would think that that's when you have to still look at people as human beings. You
Yeah.
can't just, you have to say, this guy's a hard worker.
Yeah.
We just sent him to the Bahamas. It's his
Yeah.
daughter's birthday. He's been here 12 hours. He sold 3 cars
Yeah.
today. Of course, go be with your
You
family.
would think, right?
But if you don't ever draw a line,
Yeah.
then eventually people will get fed up.
But again, those guys were always on the edge too because of the hours that they put in, and I'm not so certain that they weren't on some sort of drugs to keep them going, because I don't know how they could keep going. I don't know how they could do it, because they were there suit and tie, and it wasn't like they were playboy looking guys. They were there suit and tie, looking the part from bell to bell every day. They never took a day off. It's absolutely incredible, but it paid off for them. Like I said, I don't know what they
Well,
made.
monetarily maybe, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it doesn't sound like they had much of a life.
they
I
didn't.
mean, even working
Absolutely
9 to
not.
9, you can't really.
Oh, they weren't there. They were there like from 8:30 till most of the time till midnight, because there was always somebody, because they advertised open to midnight every night, and there was always somebody after 9 o'clock there.
But
So
so
they
they
were.
basically were just sleeping then. I mean,
That's it.
that's not living.
No, I
Well, you
mean,
can't even spend your
well,
money at that point. Mm.
because they were getting a good paycheck, and it's like this misery loves company type thing. They would feed off themselves, one another. They would go out. They'd pay somebody to go out and get some food, and they say, you buy, I'll drive, or you drive, I'll buy. Just go up here to Pete's and get something, and they would eat their 3 meals a day. They eat them there. They would never leave. They would never leave. It was just absolutely incredible. I've never seen a work ethic like that. To me, it's not healthy, but they were a good example of, hey,
Well,
don't.
were they happy to you? I guess that's,
Well, I mean,
we're talking about
grumpy.
how to make it a great week, and
Yeah.
were they having great weeks?
So, well, in sales, they were making great. I'm telling you, this is probably 5 or 6 months of the year. Kia of Greer was the number one selling Kia dealership in the nation.
Mm.
In the nation? Yeah. We would wait for those figures to come out, and we'd see like Pasadena, 275 cars, Kia Greer 312. And yes, we're number one again. And they would shoot for that, and they would, and that they would. It was very competitive. They were really wanting to get up there, and they were. It was pretty amazing. I was glad to be part of it and glad to leave it.
Yeah. I mean, the call of a bonus and the call of hitting your sales numbers, and it's a strong pull. I think that can turn people into workaholics and losing
animals.
Well, I mean, I would say one takeaway from your time with Kia was that you realized that even a great paycheck and, the potential to make a lot of money was not worth the time away from your family.
Yeah.
I mean, and some people would never have made that connection or stood up to them. But part of the reason why you were able to live a good life and make it a great week was that you chose your family over unreasonable working hours.
Yeah, it was just incredible that to do that, and I appreciate people that have to endure that. There are people out there working like that, but you really want to you got to find something that where you can be with your family, because you need to be there as a leadership, especially as a father. You want to be there for them, and it's essential that you have a good wife. That's if you have to go through a season of that extremely hard work away from the family, like our military people. I don't know how they do it. Being away from the family so much. So God bless them for the sacrifice they make for our country. But yeah, it's very challenging at times in the workaday world to overcome that stuff. But you can do it. You can do it for a season. You can do it, but focus on trying to get around so that I can help the family. I mean, be there for the family. Not just crashed out on the couch because I got to get up and do this whole thing again tomorrow. But you can do it with both husband and wife, working together at it.
Yeah. Well, our challenge for this week, we're gonna try to make it a great week by smiling more. Some of us that comes easy, and some of us that's more difficult. But I think it'd be an interesting experiment for everyone to try to practice smiling a little bit. Maybe it's not the most natural thing to you, but just try to take this week, and as you're out in public, just try to catch someone's eye, smile at them, have them just be, encouraged just a little bit by you having a bright face
Yeah,
and
exactly.
smiling. It may seem a little weird, but I think it would be a good, just to try for 1 week to say, maybe I could try to smile more. Maybe my, complexion could be the encouragement someone needs. Maybe they haven't seen someone smile that day at all.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Very
just your
good.
family could see you try to smile more. Maybe they would like that.
I've been practice it in front of a mirror too, because sometimes it's there's a different way you can smile. I mean, you can show your teeth when you smile. You can not show your teeth when you smile. So practice it in front of the mirror. What looks most delightful to the people looking at you.
Yeah.
And I started when I was real young. You always see these old people. They look like they're frowning. That complexion has become a part of their life, their face. It's just nothing but a frown anymore. But I understand why now, being at this age. I got to practice smiling. I really got to make sure that that the cares of life over all these years have not made my face droopy and everything. And so I try to smile. And one of the things is like when the sun is shining, you're squinting. If you can. Yeah, because even though you may think that you're smiling really hard or a lot or big, it's not that big to people.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why I say practice in the mirror, and it's just much better than seeing a frown on somebody's face.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's pretty good. Now you talking about a human interest story? You want a human interest?
I'm ready for your human interest story.
I picked up this guy today. He has a young son, and he was talking about his son, and he's wanting to be there for him, and he's not married to them. In fact, he said when the reason I didn't go to college after high school was because I found out my girlfriend was pregnant. But he's there for the young son of his, and he says, I want to be there for him because I had a coach, and this is the human interest part. He says, I had a teacher who was I think it was eighth grade social studies teacher or whatever, and he was kind of a special class because he was in got in trouble in times. But this guy took the kids that were in this class under his wing, and in order to help them learn better, he decided that I'm going to teach all these kids how to play the game of chess. So he had chess boards set up over it. When these kids came to class, he had all the chess boards set up ready for them to play. And he was also the cross country coach or something. But he encouraged them in that way as a coach. But to have a guy like that take interest in all these shall I say, troubled kids that didn't have father. This guy said that his father was not present in his life, but he wanted to be there for his kid, like this teacher was for him, and teaching him chess. And he says, I asked him, do you still play chess? He says, yeah, I do. I still play chess to this day because of that guy. And he says, I want to be like that for my son. I thought, that's pretty good.
Wow.
Number one, that he's wanting to be that way in his son's life, but number two, that here's a guy who a teacher that devoted his life to helping kids. And boy, that just was an encouragement to me. And I told him when I got out of the car, I said, man, yeah, that's inspirational.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him I'd use it on a podcast.
I mean, look at the impact it's had, though. I feel like one thing we keep on talking about in this show is how much stuff has a continued impact. And even some of the stuff we've talked about, if you think about how many years have passed since some of this stuff has happened.
Yes.
But it forms us. It continues to impact our life. I feel like if you're thinking about it years later, because a lot of our memories fade, but if you're thinking about it years later, that's become such a big part of your memory that it is part of who you are. It's part of your character. And like that's the lasting impact that kindness and selflessness can have on people.
Yes.
It really can form them, especially when they're kids. I mean, that's why it's such an incredible honor and sometimes scary responsibility how much, your own kids, you're forming them by how you treat them, how you raise them, the kindness you show them, the mercy, the patience. It's a very powerful thing that we get to do.
Amen. So let's smile and make it a great week.